Hi guys, Erica Hargadon here, certified child sleep consultant with my private practice Babogue. I'm the creator of the Sleep Series, which is an online program to help you on your sleep journeys with your little ones. And I'm a mum of 3, so there's very little that I haven't seen on the sleep front myself. Now, what I want to talk to you guys today about is safe sleep and what actually safe sleep is. This is something that I think there's an awful lot of grey about. And for me, safe sleep is never grey. It's either black or white. And any of the grey is not safe sleep. And this is something that I would love this video to impart on you. You'll see that I don't have any props. I'm not going to show you a baby in a crib or anything like that. I'm going to talk you through what constitutes safe sleep. Now, for me, the Holy Bible when it comes to safe sleep is the American Academy of Pediatrics guidelines on safe sleep. They are the guidelines that all of the other jurisdiction guidelines come from. And for me, I go back to these ones because they're the ones that were originally devised. Other jurisdictions have their own take on safe sleep. And for me, by always bringing it back to this baseline and this best practice, then we have the best practice in relation to safe sleep. I'm going to point out within this maybe the slight differential that might be in the Irish version of the HSE's safe sleep guidelines, and most of you guys are maybe originally Irish and you go back to that. I get a lot of that, like, oh no, the HSE said something different. So I'm going back to the best practice side of things. And really safe sleep is all about keeping your baby safe and really safeguarding against SIDS, sudden infant death syndrome. And this is not an easy topic. It's never an easy topic. Nobody ever wants to talk about this, but we have to talk about it because this occurs very often within a child's sleep space. So ensuring that you're practicing safe sleep as far as possible will safeguard your child against sudden infant death syndrome. So by making sure that you're ticking all these boxes, you're going as far as you can in terms of those protections. And when the American Academy of Pediatrics put in place all these guidelines around safe sleep, they really saw a massive decrease in the instances of SIDS, particularly in the 1980s. And one of the most significant of these was placing your baby on their back to sleep. Prior to that, children were put on their stomachs to sleep. And all of my brothers, I'm a 1980s baby, all of my brothers were put on their stomach to sleep. And when I was born, my mother was like, no, babies sleep in their tummy. And she was told, no, they sleep in their back. So I was a back to sleep baby. So always make sure that you place your baby on their back. And one of the things that's been devised around this is an ABCs of safe sleep. I'm just going to run through those really quickly, and then I'm going to run through the American Academy of Pediatrics version. Okay, so A, the baby must be alone in their sleep environment. So not sleeping with you, not sleeping with anybody else, nothing else around them in the sleep environment, alone in their sleep environment. B, on their back to sleep. So making sure they're placed on their back to sleep, and preferably with their feet to the bottom of the cot and not their head at the top of the cot. So making sure that they're closer to the bottom of the cot. And C, in a crib or a cot or some kind of safe sleep environment for them. That's very, very important. So I have my notes here and you're going to see me look at them. I want to make sure that I take all of these off because there's nothing I want to leave out. So making sure that your baby is on their back to sleep and they're in a firm, flat place to sleep, preferably a co-sleeper, a bassinet, a Moses basket, or a cot. There's nothing wrong with a cot, but it needs to be firm and flat, completely flat, no undulation in it, no cocooning around them, nothing, completely flat. And this is where an awful lot of products have come into play now that are nests and pods and positioners. These products are not safe sleep. So bring it back to just basics. Moses baskets, cribs, co-sleepers beside the bed, nice firm flat mattress in it with a fitted sheet, no loose bedding. Those are the things that are extremely important for your child. You need to also make sure that they're not sleeping in car seats or in bouncer chairs routinely. And this is something that can be quite easy to fall into when you've a reflux baby. I've had one, been there, done that, bought the t-shirt. You need to try and put them down flat as much as possible, because sleeping in car seats routinely and sleeping in bouncer chairs routinely is not safe sleep. You run the risk of creating overheating patches in your child, and overheating is something that you really want to avoid as much as possible from a sudden infant death syndrome perspective. Okay. Baby should always be sleeping in the same room as the parents, but not in the same sleep environment. So avoiding co-sleeping. Co-sleeping is not considered safe sleep underneath these guidelines. So crib beside the bed, Moses basket beside the bed, co-sleeper beside the bed. They're in the same room as you, but in a separate sleep environment. Generally, the recommendation would be that you keep the child in the room with you until they're approximately 6 months old. Okay, keep out loose bedding, blankets, cot bumpers, things like that. Now, this is where these guidelines and the HSE guidelines differ. The HSE guidelines would say that it's okay to use cellular blankets. This is black and white, no loose bedding, and I would have never used cellular blankets in the cot. I always would have used age appropriate and sleeping bags. So making sure that you have something like that that's not loose. So no loose bedding. And the reason is, entrapment, asphyxiation, suffocation, those types of things. So the cot bumpers are the same. So they run the risk of maybe getting caught in them or lying too close to them and rebreathing of carbon dioxide. These are the things to avoid. So just don't use them. They're not necessary for good sleep. So cot bumpers are not necessary for your child to sleep well. I'm going to go back now. Wedges and positioners and cocoons and nests. Any of those types of products are not safe sleep. So flat, always flat. You always need to make sure that when you're pregnant, you're receiving postnatal and prenatal care. Make sure that you do all of that. Don't smoke. Like, smoking is a no-go when it comes to small babies. So make sure that you're not smoking at all, really, because the secondary smoke lingers on you and that can transfer to your baby. Breastfeeding is recommended under the American Academy of Pediatrics guidelines, and long-term breastfeeding. They also said not to rely on monitors or any commercial devices that would say that they're safeguarding against SIDS. You can't rely on things like that. Use your noggin, use your head, and follow these guidelines. Also, it states that you need to be on top of all of the vaccinations. Supervised and awake tummy time is essential. So you don't want to put them down to sleep on their tummy, but you need to make sure that they're doing tummy time when they're awake so that they get the ability and the strength to roll, so that if they roll in their sleep, they're not necessarily going to get into any difficulty and they're able to lift their head. So doing that from as early as possible is extremely, extremely important. Now, what I'd love to impart on you is that when you're out there making your purchases for your baby's sleep, you really bring this back to basics. You do not need loads of really expensive products for your child to sleep very well. So a bog standard Moses basket, a bog standard crib, a bog standard cot with a fitted sheet and a mattress is really all you need, and ensuring that this is safe. So bring it back to these guidelines all the time and ask yourself the questions. Is this product flat? is this product safe sleep? And if you even have a hint that it's not, don't buy it. Practice safe sleep. If you want to know a little bit more about me, you'll find out more details on babogue.com. Thanks a mil.